The market might have been up today, but I was getting a slight nervous tone from investors, although I am remaining relatively and largely bullish. The reason why I was getting a little bit of a negative tone from investors is because we were seeing Megacap tech rallying today. And these are the areas that have kind of been spending the last several months consolidating, don't really have any sort of imminent story that should continue to propel them up, with the exception of Google and maybe Facebook. A lot of these stocks have reached very high valuations and have been winners in COVID, but as we exit COVID and lockdowns, aren't necessarily in the focus of winners. That said, there's certainly flights to safety. So it seemed to me like a lot of the market was actually down today, but the heavyweights, Megacap tech, kept the market just treading in the green, and we're up solidly. A lot of capital flowing that way, and I was interpreting that as people looking for a safe haven place to put their money. Now, I said, wait, why would I even talk about fear in the market when I'm bullish and I'm just saying everything's all right? Well, everything is all right as an investor. But when I put my trader hat on, I say, we might be, primed and getting ready for a little bit of a pullback. This might be some sort of last-ditch push of capital, people just feeling the urge to just push capital. And all of a sudden, we might get the buyers calming down, and the sellers might still be there and might panic a little bit. And that might lead to some sell-off. Now, I'm not saying that's guaranteed to happen. I'm not predicting that. I'm just saying it's likely, and it's starting to look like that could happen. The parts of the equation are shaping up there. So I wouldn't be surprised to see it, as I'm sure you probably wouldn't be surprised to see it either. So we'll see what happens. Now, from an investor and fundamental perspective, Intel just had a phenomenal beat on earnings. Seems like across the board, analysts still have this undertone of pessimism and caution, whereas the economy is honestly largely recovered. Yes, there's unemployment, but people are collecting a big check, so they're incentivized not to work. And I've heard this from small business people I've talked to in my area. I live in an area that hasn't had super hard lockdowns, Dallas, Texas. But they're like, I need to hire people. Their problem is hiring people. This is like the pre-pandemic problem we had in the economy, was hiring people, not enough people to work. So, we just got to see what happens with this. But it seems to me like things are okay fundamentally. So if we get this pullback, I'm going to be putting cash to work, ready to buy, and I would encourage you to do the same because I think the inflation environment is here. I heard the CEO of Interactive Brokers say it's just common sense we're going to get some inflation. And I agree with that. I think it is just common sense that we're going to get some inflation. When you increase the money supply 40% and try to get a $15 minimum wage, that's a primed combo for inflation. We've added the money supply. Now what we need is the upward wage pressure to increase demand across the spectrum of goods. And what is inflation? A rise in the price level. So there you go. So remaining long-term bullish, not backtracking on that. Keeping a pessimistic short-term outlook, just given the current price level and overstretchedness. I think starting today or tomorrow, we might see some sort of 5-10% sell-off. I don't want to time it like that, but it just seems logical that should happen. So we'll see what happens. I will largely ride the wave, but I wouldn't ride the wave if I have something like Zoom or DocuSign or Tesla. Honestly, any of these stocks that have seen massive gains, I would cut back and trim on. I will admit, my biggest mistakes this year have been selling too early. And so a lot of my Crispr stocks a little too early, kept some position in, obviously, but, I realized a lot of gains, rang the register, still have them to an extent. Today I was buying those back. Those are stocks that have moved like Tesla. They were down big today. And that's kind of like a niche, professional investor kind of stock. Not most people aren't buying Crispr stocks. Only, hardcore people buying Crispr stocks. But I expect that sentiment that was present today in the Crispr stocks to go to stuff like Tesla and more mainstream areas of the market, and we will see what happens there. So until next time, peace out.